me know if you feel this spiritually.
Welcome, everybody, to the Unnormalized Podcast. This is your host, Frankie A. And today I'm like really ecstatic to have my next guest on. I am, for those of you who don't know, for those of you who do know me, know that I am such an avid lover of the form, an art form of dance. So to have this next guest on, I am humbled, I am honored. Today I have Comfort Fedoke from so many accolades. I mean, the girl is doing her thing. She's a actress, she's a dancer, choreographer, she's singing, she's doing all kinds of stuff. And you know, I'm very humbled that she took the time out of her busy schedule to sit down with me and talk about our love for dance and living the life unnormalized. So, welcome everybody, Comfort.
What?
What's going on, girl?
Woo-hoo. Just sipping my coffee.
That's, well, that's how we do it. Comfort. Many people know you from So You Think You Can Dance, of course.
Mhm.
Um, a tremendous platform. So big up to So You Think You Can Dance for bringing the art form and the world of dance into homes
Yeah.
where people can appreciate it for the art form that it is.
Thank
But yep, tell everybody out there, Comfort, where did Comfort start from? Everybody has a starting place. We have our roots grounded in family and from where we're raised. So tell us a little bit about where comfort comes from.
Woo! All right. Hi. Well, I am originally from Dallas, Texas. My father is West African, so I'm also Nigerian. And so, honestly, I didn't even dance when I was younger. I did more like singing and acting. And my mom is a writer, and she loves writing poetry. So she always used to love like writing everything and then making me like memorize it and then like reciting it to her pretty much. And so that's kind of how I got into music, is because of my mother just always being her, I guess, her memory bank for anything that she writes. And then me just being able to just like say it and like
You were like her canvas. She was using you.
I was, and it put me in this place of knowing how to always be outspoken, honestly. And I loved dancing, but dancing was more so just a hobby. I think I was really into sports. I was really into all of that stuff. So I didn't really know until later that dancers are athletes just as much as you
Mm.
know basketball players, football players, volleyball players, anybody who's in the Olympics. Hence why you know dance is going to be involved in the Olympics. So I didn't I didn't really, dance that much. And so after I got hurt in track and field, because that's what I did, I wanted to go to the Olympics. I ran track since the age of 7, 8, acted, music, everything but dance. And I mean, took it seriously. And then I got hurt in track, and I got into a bad car accident. And I couldn't obviously do another semester of track, so I had to wait. And instead of waiting and getting in trouble at school, I went to like 5 different high schools. Yikes. I decided just like I did talent shows all the time. I think that was another thing I always loved to do. Like I was a one man show. My mom was like, if no one else is gonna do anything with you, do it by yourself. So
Yeah.
in like seventh grade, I was like, man, I really wanna do this dance talent show. Like I just wanna dance at the talent show. And my favorite group at the time was NSYNC. I really liked NSYNC. I thought NSYNC was the
Bye
bomb.
bye bye.
Don't tell me nothing. I had the whole choreography. I had the outfit from Madison Square Garden. I had the little blue FUBU shirt
Right.
with the bandana with the diamond studs. It was that serious. And I literally just like one man showed it up there and did the entire song, all the choreography, and like had a standing ovation. And it was the first time I actually understood the um the depths of what it felt like to have that type of energy and that type of love from just dancing. I only always felt that through track and sports.
Mm.
And winning competitions in sports and being first place and getting everyone hyped and your coach being hyped. I never understood the depth of that feeling with dance. Like I didn't even think that they connected that much and people
Yeah.
cared that much. And so when I felt that feeling on stage, it was something I never wanted to let go. So dance and track became like hand in hand to me after that
Mhm.
because the feeling where it was the same. And so after that, I just kept doing it at the same time. And actually, you know how those step up movies, those movies that are like, oh, you have to choose one or the other, and your coach is like, you better come to practice and this.
Yeah.
Literally happened to me for sure. Like, I had a talent show that was going to be the same day as a practice that we had for a meet coming up the next week. And I was like, man, but I have to do the talent show. I was going to be Janet Jackson and Michael Jackson at the same time. Like, I had this whole plan. I had this whole situation. And my coach was like, you're going to miss practice. If you miss practice, you're not going to be able to go to the meet. And I kind of just was like, I really want to do the talent show. Even though, like, literally nobody was there. Like, not very people cared in high school about talent shows.
Yeah.
I did it anyways, and so my coach came and apparently like stood at the back and watched my performance at the talent show, and like talked to me after and was like, "All right, I see that you're just as passionate about it. We'll let you go to the meet." And after that, it was just something that always I enjoyed so much. It gave me so much expression. Like sometimes I didn't know how to express what I felt. And if I did, it was always 0 to 100. It was always either just like I couldn't. Yeah, and so dance really helped me put words into movement, and and so I got hurt eventually in track, and my parents put me into a performing arts school. Well, they got me into a performing arts school. I had to actually audition for it, but it was a lie because I thought the school had hip hop in it. And my dad told me it did, and it did not have hip hop in it because that's all I was exposed to, really.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of street dancing. I had like a lot of different god brothers that I got it connected with through just hanging out with people all the time and just hanging out streetwise with people all the time. If it was basketball players who ended up knowing how to dance, that's in Dallas. There's a movement called Boogie, the D-Town Boogie. And the D-Town Boogie, everyone knows how to do it. And it's just a vibe. So everyone really knew how to dance, honestly.
Yeah.
And so I was always a part of groups and always a part of like small little things and created my own little groups. Like I always just had to make something happen. I didn't wait. Yeah. It was something if it wasn't there, I created it. So my school at the time when I finally got into Booker T. Washington and they got accepted my middle of my sophomore year, I saw they didn't have hip hop. So I created a hip hop team. I saw they didn't have stepping. So I created a stepping team. I was definitely the underdog with a lot of it. My comp teachers, the teachers there was like, ballet and all them. At first they couldn't even stand it. They were just like, what is going on? And what is this girl doing? And why aren't you respecting ballet? And blah, 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 which I didn't at first. I didn't have that much respect for it. I was like, what's the point of all of this? What are these tights and these outfits I got to wear on? This is too revealing. I need some clothes, please. Yikes. But I understood. But after a while, being in the school, I started to understand my body more and understand why I needed to have center, why I needed to know the language of ballet and respect what that is. And so throughout time, I just found a way to let them both live together. And before you know it, after I graduated, didn't really end up graduating from the school, Booker T. Washington, just life happened and couldn't graduate from the school, and I had to go to another high school, and I graduated from another high school, and wanted to go to school for dance. I actually did. I got accepted to Cal Arts at one point.
Nice.
And I couldn't go, unfortunately, because my parents wouldn't let me. They wouldn't let me leave. Whatever. And it was devastating for me, and I was like, I'm not going to go to school for dance in Dallas. I felt like I was already like accomplishing so many things because in Dallas we also had this show called Dance Club 21. It was almost like Dance 360 in LA.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever remember that show, Dance 360. I think Kel Mitchell hosted it.
I do remember it because it's funny that you say that. I was on an MTV show that was very similar to that back in the 90s. Yeah, and it was like just basically a big dance party, you know what I mean? Like, so, I mean, you really didn't see me at all or anything like that. For me, it was everything life because I can totally identify with what you were saying about kind of realizing what dance can do. I was a swimmer my whole life, and it was like it's funny how you can recall like that moment where something like dance kind of like strikes like a like an inner voice in you that says that this is like a like this is something that you can really, you know, enjoy and have an outlet for. I remember being at my, now I'm a little older, so I am talking like probably about like 85, and I'm at my aunt's wedding, and the movie Footloose just came out. So they start and that's, I loved it. I saw the movie, I came home, and I remember my parents telling me, I remember seeing the movie, but I remember my parents telling me that in the movie theater, I actually, at the end scene with like the prom scene, I actually got up and was like in the middle of the aisle dancing, because like it was just like something that automatically,
Yeah.
organically just happened. So at my aunt's wedding, they start playing Footloose. So I am on the dance floor, I'm dancing and just doing my thing, and I turn around and I look up, and basically like the entire wedding has a circle around me and is watching
Oh,
this
the
young boy.
best, the
Yes,
cipher.
yes, the cipher. That's when the cipher started, and I was like hooked. Like I was like, there was like, I don't think I really understood it at that age, but something in me was like, like there's something here. And I actually grew up in Newark, New Jersey. So I
Okay.
grew up, yeah, I grew up in, you know, kind of like the white boy in, you know, in a predominantly African American and Hispanic community, and where hip hop was just being cultivated. You know what I mean? It was just coming like mainstream and stuff like that. And when I hooked up with those people that had the same passion and love for dance, it was like that's when I really kind of felt like this was even more so something that I should pursue, because I was hearing it from other people that you know, like you got something there, and I did the whole talent shows, won a couple of talent shows, and just so happened somebody from MTV happened to be in the audience at one of my talent shows. I can't tell you why, I can't tell you how they were there. They approached me. They approached me afterwards and were like, you know, do you want to be on this show? So it started off. I was on a show called Lip Service back in the day. It was like a game show, and Moni Love was like the DJ, and it was pretty
Oh,
cool. Yeah, so it was pretty cool, and it led to some other things. And I identify what you said about um, the parents kind of not trusting maybe some of your journey and your decisions in your journey early on, because I actually was approached at that point to do some off Broadway stuff, and I had been accepted to college and stuff like that, and dance was not something that my parents were. They knew that I would, like, they saw like the reaction from it, but it still wasn't enough for them. And I get it. I'm a parent now, so I get it. You want that security for your child, but I think I missed out a lot of opportunities because I didn't, you know, and that's the reason basically why I started to show comfort, is to talk to people about how something like this comes up in their life, and it's the crossroads. It's
yeah.
either you do it your passion, and you're, you know, you fight the system of just being conventional, or you go that route where you're like, this is in me. This is something that I need to pursue. There's a drawing, there's a magnetic pull that's it's taking me into that direction. And so, yeah, I have a lot of similarities to your
Yeah.
journey, but where you took the crossroad in one way, I went the opposite way. So that's why I love to talk to people, because I want people out there, young and old, to hear a story like yourself and know that it's okay to make that leap and that faith towards that other junction
Right.
in life.
But it's also okay to take, disappointments are always a blessing in disguises. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I
Hmm.
never, even though at that moment I would be upset that my parents wouldn't let me go to Cal Arts, only because, and not because they didn't want me to dance. They saw my passion. They're the one who took me to the performing arts school, so they knew that this is what I wanted to do, but they were afraid of letting me actually go.
Yeah.
And the actually idea of letting me go and seeing that this passion actually will take me away from them. So it became a moment of their own selfishness of how they wanted it to happen, right? And my own, like, why can't I do what I want to do, the type of thing.
Yeah.
So it was a blessing in disguise when I say that, because I was like, you know what, fine, you know, I'll stay here in Dallas. I was already a little local star. I was already a little cocky because we had a show called Dance Club 21. That's kind of like Dance 360. And I was on that show. I was young when I got on the show. I wasn't even supposed to be on the show because you're supposed to be 18. I think I was 17 when I got on the show. And I beat everyone. And then so I became like the highlight of the show. So every time the show came on, you saw me and my god brother, Next Level. We were the commercial coming on and off. And
Oh,
it was
that's
crazy.
cool.
It was so crazy. It came on every Sunday or Monday to Sunday night, and we all got together at the house and would watch it every Sunday. Like, look, we're on TV. And it was a local show in Dallas, but like we were like, yo,
Yeah.
we're the shit. Yeah, can't nobody talk to us, bro. We're out in the street. So after that, like we were just like always in the streets. I was always in the club. I ain't even supposed to be in the club, but because I had and back then it was all about radios too, like radio hosts.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we were connected to anybody in the radio, which was 97.9 for us. We were connected with Rock T. We were connected with Rock T and 97.9, The Beat. And then so he connected us with everyone, with Ricky Smiley. We did all these different things, but we learned really fast that we can get used for our talent. And so I learned actually really quick that we can get exploited for what we love to do, and realize that money is coming all in. And you're like, where is it? In my pockets.
Yeah, that's right.
We're broke. We didn't realize we can actually make money off of this. So I learned a lot really fast just living in Dallas and being these local superstars and wanting to, take this dance to a whole nother level, and being like, let's explore our talents and see what that truly is when it comes down to our worth. And I found that out early. So when I couldn't go to LA and stayed here, I kept going to college. I went to college for journalism instead, because I didn't want to go to college for dance in Dallas. It didn't make sense to me because I was already dancing. I already felt like I had an avenue I didn't really need to do. I was already teaching. I've been teaching it since the age of 16. I traveled. I taught. I worked at Whataburger. I taught classes in 3 different studios, Boys and Girls Club, and I was in college. So,
What? Wait, you taught at a Boys and Girls Club?
Yeah, it was a Boys and Girls Club.
Wait.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if we're like kindred spirits here, and I know you don't know me from a hole in the wall, but I feel like we are. I actually used to work for a Boys and Girls Club, and the way I eventually became like a program director there, but the way that I got hired was to teach hip hop in a Boys and Girls Club. So that big up to the Boys and Girls Club.
That's where most of the kids were. Like they couldn't take class. I didn't even have money myself to go take classes like that. Like, and then when I did have money, you used it for the things that you actually, needed to use it for. It wasn't always just to spin on the idea of like, going to take a class. I never looked at it that way, but I also saw the worth of teaching other students who wanted to know what it was to feel this expression and movement. And these kids and these little badass kids, they needed somebody who was from where they were from and doing what they're doing to teach them and be like, you can do it too. You can do it too. This can happen. Work. Did you do your homework? Did you work on your homework? I'm talking back. Like all that stuff, they can look up to someone who's been there and is going through it, rather than like a teacher or someone who's way too older than them to even feel like they can understand them or anything like that. So I enjoyed all of it. Yeah, someone they can really connect with.
And there's something about working, and most of my work that I've done in dance. I taught dance for like about 20 years, but it's always been in that avenue, working in community and working with a lot of youth. And my career could have even from there went into different directions, but there was something, like you said, about working with the kids in my community, and not only that, but seeing like almost myself in these youngsters and watching them for the first time, learning what an 8 count is and learning how to pick up a piece of choreography and watching them bring it to life themselves, and then to watch them perform and to feel like them just soaking up.
It's so
It,
beautiful. They
yes,
just,
it's
you can tell they finally found, when they finally, like, it finally gets to them, they found a place where they can express themselves without being violent, without taking other measures to go out in the streets and do drugs and do all these different things. They found a new avenue that they can actually like tap into.
yep.
And that's what's beautiful about it, because you see the change in a lot of people. And yeah, and so I used to do all of that, and that was all between the ages of 16 and 19.
Wow.
I would do that every day until the day that So You Think You Can Dance came to SMU to have auditions, and some of my godbrothers and I, a lot of them, we were off, books with each other because of drama. There's so much drama in street dance. It's always battles. It's always somebody, we hate somebody for like 10 days, and we'll come back and be like, all right, let's talk about it. But like when this audition happened, we were all like, yo, we got to get the crew back together. We got to get the crew back together. There's something coming to Dallas. Like, nothing comes to Dallas. And everybody was like, you should audition. And I haven't danced like the ballet, jazz, all that stuff in like a couple of years. I had already graduated, and I was like 19, maybe a year or something. And I was like, when it's out of your body, it's out of your body. I didn't grow up with ballet, so it wasn't stuck. But I had a good frame, and I caught on really quickly to things. So it was still in me, but it wasn't embedded, like not completely embedded. I probably had like three solid years of like training, like solid everyday training. So a year away from it and back into the street dance or back into the street culture or creating my own stuff, like it goes away fast.
Yeah, it's like
But
an
you know what,
instrument.
forget it. Let's just go, and this. I have nothing to lose. Literally, what I would say, I had nothing to lose. So two of my godbrothers came with me, and we went to audition, and randomly I just made it. I was just so myself, and I was really crazy then. I'm like, I'm talking about like off the hinges, like country, like yikes, no filter, nothing. and they wanted that. I think that was the year that they wanted the rawness of like a hip hop female and dancers period, because that was the year. Like one of my other friends, Joshua Allen, he ended up from the same area as we're from. Like we were kind of rivals technically, but we, at that point, we were kind of together in making sure that we got to where we wanted to get to, because we would always like compete against each other. So this was one of those competitions that we were like, yo, we both can represent for Dallas here. That'd be crazy. All of us felt that way. So I ended up getting on the show, and they ended up saying, you're top 20. And I went to LA, and I'm in LA, and I'm just kind of like, this is where I wanted to actually come to school. But now I'm here. If I couldn't go, but now I'm here on the other. So I bring it back to say, like, who would have known what my life would have been if I went to college in Cal Arts and thought that I was already on the road there, and would have never auditioned for the show, never would have had the idea of doing it, because I would have already been pursuing in something else completely different. Yeah. So it all came
Thank God for, selfishly, thank God for us that,
thank
it
God,
didn't work.
yeah, that's why I said blessing in disguise. God has its timing. My mom and daddy knew, apparently, I guess. I don't know. They was like, told you.
See, that's why we kept your ass here, because we knew this was all.
We already knew what was going to happen.
That's we, as parents, we kind of like to do that thing. We like, see our kids kind of do things like we hope we plant the seed, and we hope that, it works out that way. And then we take all the friggin' credit for it, because it makes us feel so good.
Right.
So Comfort.
It's beautiful. Can't even complain. My mom's a dancer too, so we always dance together. My dad doesn't dance, but his music, like listening to like Fela Kuti, and listen to like African music all the time growing up, and like it was always embedded in me. It was just naturally on me. I just never knew what it was going to become later on in life.
Yeah, and there, I mean, I can only imagine. I think we see a very small part of how much work you guys had put into that. Like, we see the beauty of the performances on So You Think You Can Dance, which just gives me life to see that on TV, where and like that we can see that now kind of like in syndicate on things like YouTube and things like that, where we can I can a person like me who really likes to look at the choreography and the complexity of it
Mm-hmm.
and the emotion and all that kind of stuff that goes behind it, to watch it over and over again, because I pick up a little something different each time that I watch it.
Yeah.
uh, so
It's left with your own interpretation.
yeah,
It's like
exactly.
art. It's like what looking at an art.
I mean, and that's how I look at
Yeah.
dancers. I think, not to take away from any other art form, I think the arts in general are just something that's very important for us to have, in humanity. But something about dance where you're using all facilities, all capacities. It's emotional, it's physical, it's mental, and touches upon spiritual too. You know,
Absolutely
um,
spiritual.
and we see the end product of that every week. How much rehearsal time goes in between the moment that we see you? Okay, let's say from the moment that you get selected, um, to the first couple's performances. How much training goes into that?
Okay, when I was on the season, everything's changed a little bit now. So I mean, some of it is still the same. But when I was on season as a contestant, um, when you first camera, okay, so first day is camera blocking, and that's when you have to be in front of the camera, and that's when they get to know you, all that good stuff. You get an hour and a half to learn the choreography with cameras, talking to the camera, whatever the case may be, and that's it on first day. And so if the choreographer gets a chance to teach it all to you, good for you. If not, yikes. Hopefully the next day you get it. So then the next day, no cameras, and just the choreographer and you get maybe 2.5 hours, three.
Mm,
So like a total of maybe 4 hours you learn that choreography from the choreographer.
wow, that's like, and that's something that we,
And then the rest of it is up to you to go like practice
to
with
go
your
back and
partner.
practice and rehearse with your partner and all that. Like, wow,
Along with
that,
every other dances that you had to learn too, though. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
because you're not just learning one routine, you're learning maybe
multiple
two partner two routines, doing your
group
solos,
routine.
group routines, which are fire all the time. I love it, love it. But so what
So
is it
altogether,
like?
for like 4.5, 4 hours.
Wow. And then how much time do you usually put in with your partner? I mean, like,
Depends. Depends. Like we would always have we would always try to, sometimes some of us would like sneak out and like try to get like a rehearsal space or whatever, but others we would just like go into the garage and like go out in the garage or meet in a room and listen to the music, or like, and it's like late nights because like what sometimes we'll start our day at like 7 in the morning and then end at like 10 at night,
wow.
and we had no days off. So now you would sacrifice sleep just to, get this choreo down in your body, and so that the next day, because they'll go like camera block with the cameras, then they'll go rehearse, finish the choreography with the choreographer. Next day rehearsal for a group routine, 2 day of rehearsal with the group routine, fittings, then next day camera blocking with everything. So you don't touch the your duet anymore, and you have to go straight into camera blocking. So we see what it looks like. The choreographer sometimes changes everything, so now you have an entire new piece
Mm.
on stage for your camera blocking, and then you have to work on everything. And then the next day it's and by that time it's now live. Now we're live and we're doing whatever, and so now it turns into that, and then everything starts over again. So on our season we didn't have days off. These seasons, since I think it was season 7, they have days off now, because on our season everyone was so tired. Top 4 ended up having IVs in their arms before they even hit the stage, so they're backstage like getting IV'd up.
Oh
And
my
then they go
God.
on stage talking about some and I was back there like, yo, this is crazy. Somebody needs to put a BTS of the show because this is insane. This is probably illegal.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, see, those are the things that we don't see, and that's something that I think anybody who's out there, not just in the world of dance, but anybody who's getting out there
Yeah,
doing what they love to do, that this shit is work. It's not
it's
like,
work,
yes, it's
sacrifice.
one thing when it's a hobby, one thing is when it's like localized and all that, but when you're taking it to that next level, now you're talking about those 10-hour days. Now you're talking about
Hmm.
bringing in the personality, somebody else's work that you are kind of facilitating for them.
Hmm.
So, that pressure. I mean, and listen, the choreographers that you guys are working with right off the bat are some of the biggest, most accomplished choreographers in the business. I mean, when
Yeah,
you
no, and that's why it was really important for people that you started to realize well, at least later on in life, I started to realize the relationships of what it is to be a good listener, what it is to be someone that you can actually work with. Because if you were someone that these choreographers couldn't work with, because you were either just so hard to work with because you were either stubborn or you thought you knew it all or you were disrespectful in some type of way, after the show they weren't hiring you because a lot of people would get hired after the show, and a lot of times they wouldn't hire you, or or your name will get blacklisted around the dance community. And unfortunately, some for a lot of times, like people who are from So You Think You Can Dance would get a lot of bad rep. They would be like, oh, yo, I assumed that you were like this person. You're so much nicer. I thought that you would be this. And it's just because people create a bad rep because of, you become entitled. Because when we were on the show, we were like superstars.
yeah, yeah,
Like our season, I think, was the highest rating of the year of the So You Think You Dance history, in the sense of people watching the show and being so invested in the characters and the reality of like who we all were. So if you can get big headed really fast, you know what I
sure,
mean, you can
sure.
become, yeah, you lose your humility like in things and like not humble about so much stuff. So a lot of things would get you had to just learn how to be present and appreciative and humble in everything you did, or it'll come back to bite you in the ass later if you want it to actually work.
Sure. I mean, um, I work in social work now, and we always say don't burn your bridges because the mental health community is so very small. And
Yeah,
the dance community, I'm sure it's even a smaller circle,
way smarter.
especially at your level, where now you're talking about like these big name choreographers, and like you said, people are getting hired for work afterwards. I mean, what a tremendous opportunity that a young dancer like yourself not only can go out there and represent the dance community, but to propel themselves forward,
Mm-hmm.
so we can see your craft develop kind of like right in front of our eyes. Like,
Yeah.
it's an amazing thing. And when people say, oh, I followed your journey, I have followed your journey. I've watched all your stuff. I've loved that they brought you back as an all-star. Love it. Love it that you're doing choreo and all that kind of stuff too. And I'm glad that it's springboarded you to other opportunities. So let's talk about some of because you're just not Comfort from So You Think You Can Dance. Um, Talk to me about transitioning from being so focused on like dancing. Now you're getting offers to be in movies like Step It Up and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So how difficult is that a transition to go from that super hyper focused dance mode
Mm-hmm.
into translating that into it? I mean, with Step It Up, you're using both your facilities, but
Right.
um, there's an acting piece that comes with that. So
Mm-hmm.
how do you transition from one to the other?
Right. What's great about it is like we forget that dancers, like back in the day, like Debbie Allen is a great example. You had to know how to sing, dance, and act. Like you had to be a triple threat, period.
Yeah,
So if you're a dancer, you already knew how to act because we already tell stories with our emotions. We're already pretty emotional people in the face, especially myself. You can tell any emotion I
Same
feel in
here.
my face. Whoa.
Gets me in trouble sometimes, Comfort.
So the transition, it wasn't really hard for me. It's not too hard for me. I think what's hard is letting go of one thing. Like, I have to, just as much as I put 10,000 hours into my dance, I have to put that much more time into acting or music or anything else that I want to do. I have to give it my full attention, because I am not the best at multitasking both of those, because they both ask for a different type of time and energy in it, and space in your mental to even be able to like take it in. So I had to stop. You have to stop at one point, or you just have to at least know your facility enough, and know your character enough, and really be invested into that character when it comes down to being a dancer turning into an actor, or a dancer turning into a musician or artist or whatever like that. I feel like we are capable of actually springboarding into whatever avenue we want, because I personally think we're superheroes in so many ways, because we understand everyone else's job.
Yeah,
Because we're the ones who are quiet and observant. Everyone's like treats us as the background, but as the background, we see everything. We see your mistakes. We see what you're doing. We listen to what we're supposed to be told to do by the producers, by the cameraman, by everything. We know your job better than you. Sometimes we're like, is this angle right here? Do I know this? So when I transition that into my acting, I'm like, oh, I know that he's going to shoot me from here, so let me make sure that my head is this direction. And when I'm speaking, I already know. It's because for easier also for me, because I also, when I was young, I went to Katie Studios, and I actually acted in plays, and I did a lot of theater work. So I loved acting, and I still love acting, and I love acting. I still love acting. You know what I mean? That was one of my first things, music. I did music before dance as well with my acting, and so I love music. I write all the time. You know what I mean? That's like my gateway. So everything that was my hobby, kind of like, everything switched in a sense of like timeline. So even though like acting and music was like up here, and like sports was up here, and dance was like down here, dance is what ended up doing this for me. And then now it's opening up doors for all the rest of the things that I've already been connected to kind of start, coming into the light.
And I love it. I love that. It's like to no end, because something about a creative being, that's what I kind of call someone like yourself, that you're not just like a one trick pony, for lack of a better term. You have all this creativity that's already like seeping out of your pores, and I think that Comfort, that I mean, I know that's why people connect with you, and love everything that you do, because you're doing it from an honest place. You're doing it from a sense of like pure joy in what you do. It doesn't seem forced. It doesn't seem like a put on or anything like that. And that's why anytime you're in front of people, whether it be stage, screen, behind the mic, people are going to like suck you up like a sponge, because especially nowadays, I think, in this kind of intense, di- you know, division that we have kind of now, where it's so easy to get sucked into all that we need people like you to be storytellers, whether it be through whatever vessel that comes from, whether it be dance, whether it be acting, whether it be singing. People like you, Comfort, are what's keeping the stories being told, that will be translated from happy and makes them fulfilled and has a sense of purpose and a sense of value, and be successful at it. And that's with anything. We're talking dance because we're just two lovers of the art form. But I think what you embody kind of translates to a lot of different things that people can do with their life. You just got to give it 110%, if not more.
Trust the process of it too, because everyone worries about everyone else's path and where they are before someone else, and how someone was able to, I guess, move faster in the avenue that they both went in the same direction on. Like, everyone's timing is different, and so when you spend too much time worrying about someone else's timing in the process, it kind of, it backtracks your own.
Mm-hmm. And that's very important, because everybody's, and that's why I like doing this show, and why I felt like a purpose to do it was because with the people that I was working with, especially in my field, it's all about like language, and which holds back people back through stigma, things like being normal, and here's the path that you have to take, here's the cookie cutter approach, and that's just not what life is about. It's when you kind of give into the process of life that
Yeah.
the road to where you're supposed to be going kind of reveals itself and unfolds. And I think that you kind of embody that, Comfort. So tell me, Comfort, how is it like? I mean, like, you go from the show, you go from um, like local life to the spotlight in LA and Hollywood, and working with all these choreographers. You're on the show, you keep coming back. Now you're doing shit like with Missy and LL Cool J, like.
I know, believe me. And what's crazy is it has nothing to do with the show.
Yeah, yeah,
And Missy didn't know me from the show. No one really knew me from the show like that. So Missy was my biggest, is my like biggest like dance accomplishment. Like, honestly, because I grew up listening to Missy,
yeah.
like Missy, TLC, Aaliyah were like three of my biggest inspiration. Aaliyah being number one, TLC, and then Missy. Honestly, like that's how it went for me. And I was getting really, honestly, in LA, it was starting to get really rough for me, because I started to lose who I was, because I didn't have like my brothers from back at home, and like the street community, and that battle world that was like very Southern. I didn't have that anymore, and it was all about work, 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 gone, gone, gone. So I felt I was losing this like this little small but big part of me that that made me sane in this community, that kept me going, that kept me grounded, like street world and freestyle world kept me grounded, right? And so I had to be a part of this dance. I ended up being part of this crew called Styles Play, where it was one of my mentors who I've known when I was 16. He decided to put me in the crew, all girls crew, where we battled, we street battled, we trained all the time. So I was doing the industry world, and I was doing the street world again. So I was like, I needed it just to make sure I still held on to that personality. That true depth of knowing yourself is when you know how to freestyle, and that's in hip hop culture. Period.
Yeah,
If you already know, you got to know how to freestyle. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and dance is no different. Dance is no different. And so I'm glad I still had that, and so I kept that part of me when I was a part of that crew. So all of a sudden I was like, man, I need something else. These jobs are so boring. They're so 1-2. We all gotta look alike. It was starting just to get, it was weighing on me. Like, why am I here? I wanted to move back. It was all this thing. There was no artist I really cared about working with. And then all of a sudden, Missy Elliott had an audition. She had an audition, and in LA, and it was a cattle call. When we say cattle call, it means like a whole bunch of people, like just
yeah.
cattle. A whole bunch of people at the audition, and I was just myself. We were dancing to Get Your Freak On. We learned the original choreography to Get Your Freak On. Famous choreographer who works with her named Hi Hat, as well as Cessna
Yeah.
Lisa, but famous choreographer was there, and and some other people who worked with her in the video. But either way it goes, Missy was there. So Missy was at the table watching everyone, and I was just so hyped. I was just like, ah! So facials and everything was out. Like, nothing that I learned conventionally from like all the other
Out the window.
choreographers who
Out
are
the
always
window.
telling you to do this. I was like crazy. And after that, found out that I was the only one that they chose as a as a dancer from there. I think maybe one other guy, but he couldn't do the job. But I was the only girl that she chose from that entire audition to dance with her for Black Girls Rock when she first made her appearance back in 2012 with her tracks that she had, Ninth Inning and Triple Threat with Timbaland in 2012 when she first came back. And I was shocked, and my name went around a lot because they were like, who made the audition? Who got the audition? Who won? Who da 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 da? And they found out it was just one person, and it was me. And it was just like, what? Like, Missy only chose one person? And so I couldn't wait to get the information. I was like, bump it. I have no clue what it was, but I got the job. So I went to New York. I stayed there in New York. And then before you know it, from there, she was like, okay, I want to go on a tour, European tour. So we're going to stay for another 2 months. Huh? I had to go back home, grab more stuff, and I ended up being there and going on this tour. And from there, ever since then, like, I stayed with Missy since then. And I one day I asked her, I was like, yo, like, I'm so thankful. And she was like, you know what? Like, I chose you. You know, I only chose you. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to hear this. And she said, you're the only one that decided to not look like everyone else, but yet you still kept the integrity of the movement without losing yourself and your truth within it. So she's like, I looked at you as an artist, not as just a dancer. And I was just like, wow.
Yeah, and that goes back to exactly what I was saying to you about, you know, that's something as somebody who's like a fan of yours, or admirer of yours, validates what somebody like Missy is saying to you, is like, there's something about, like, even if you are wilding out in the face and emotions, it's not coming from a disingenuous place. Yeah. It's coming from a place where, like, that's comfort. That's what we want to see. On top of being a dope ass dancer, we want to see that piece of you, you know. And you're right, it's easy to, when you're doing somebody else's choreography, to kind of almost try to fit yourself to what they want you to be. But they want somebody like Missy. I was on the VMAs just passed not too long ago, and they issued her with the Vanguard
Award. Yeah.
I mean, long overdue. I love Missy. And I think it was, they were doing like kind of like a, you know, like an interview with her, and she was saying that she will not release, like she does, like maybe it was Timbaland who said it, that she has so much material that she has like done in the studios, but if she can't visually see through the music, like have a visual of it, then it may not even reach us. And I think she is a very visual person. She sees, you know, the beyond, I think, what a lot of other people can see. And I think that's phenomenal. I mean, I wouldn't, it's no surprise that you guys are working together. Well, for me, it's not, because I think it's just a perfect marriage of creativity. It's like, I love it. I love it.
Everything about her, I've learned so much. She's the only artist I've ever worked with that is from, if we have rehearsal at 9, if rehearsals are from 9 to 5 or 10 to whatever, she's at rehearsals from 9 to 3. Like, she's there, all of the rehearsal schedule. She knows what the choreography looks like. She wants to know what we look like behind her. She wants to know everything. She's like the choreographer consultant. Like, she'll literally just be like, I don't like that move. Comfort, don't do something that you do in Dallas. What's that Dallas move you be doing all the time when you be freestyling? And I'll be like, oh, I do this. And she'll be like, all right, don't put that in there. Where are you from? Like, I'm from Nigeria, so I like do a lot of like different African moves when we're like practicing or we're getting warmed up. And she's like, ooh, I like that move that you did. Let's put that in the piece. So like, before you know it, you're naturally learning how to be a choreographer. You're naturally learning what an artist wants and thinking on the spot and not, you know, not just staying put with one idea. You end up having to break it up because the choreographer or, you know, the artist wants something completely different. So it's spontaneous. Like, you have to be spontaneous in your moment of not, you know, sticking with just one idea. You have to be able to be open to like everyone's like, you know, input into what a piece is supposed to end up looking like. So we learned so much. She's so honest. It's so cutthroat. She's very specific about her dancers. Like, it's crazy. Like, you come and audition for her, and you'll get cut the next day. Like you might have thought you made the
You thought you may
rehearsal,
have made
but
it,
you're
but you had
actually
no
still
idea.
in audition.
And
It's crazy.
there's something that probably, I mean, so many things yield from that. Besides like work ethic, but just creativity. She's just like
Create. Yeah.
just
You
probably can't
saw.
get it out of you.
Yeah, you saw what she saw and you understood it, and then she brought you into her video. She'll bring you into her vision, and if she trusts and values your opinion, she'll ask you for your opinion, and she'll be like, "Oh, okay, I like that." So there's been plenty of times that she's asked me for my opinion and was like, "Comfort, what do you think of this, 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 and this?" And I'd be like, "Honestly, I don't like that, that, or that." But she has to keep people around her that are honest. She loves people who are from somewhere else, and also from the depths of somewhere else, not like just the surface level of it, like you don't know which way you're going, like the actual depths of somewhere else, and
Yeah,
truly know yourself in that realm. And then she values it, and she values your opinion, and she values the argument, she values the disagreement of it too. So it's like, it's just being so, it teaches you how to be really strong-willed working with her, like truly strong-willed. And then also being able to listen and be like, all right, she's having her artist moment, let her get get it out. Let her get it out. Let's up. All right, can I speak now? Nope. Okay. All right. Yep. You're right. but it's beautiful because I can't even go into any other job with any other artist and feel the same anymore, because it's like, it's just not the same. It's like,
you're actually like a contributor
yeah,
to the
you feel so
process, which
connected. Yeah.
that's probably, I mean, I'm not in that industry, but I could imagine is very rare because, people just want, they look at you like you're hired,
Hmm.
and almost like an employee. I hate to say it like that, but,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
I mean, it's true. Yeah, it's
you
true.
know,
Just because, and then also a lot of artists trust either just one voice, and that's their choreographer, or their whatever. They'll trust one voice. It's very rare where artist chooses a group of people that she values all of their voices and all of their different opinions, and then she can choose out of the pool of just her small group of people that she trusts as well. So it's very interesting how we all come together and help choose like which album cover looks better. Like, we like that one. Like, you know what I mean? Cool. Whatever. Like, just
that is
valuing our
so
opinion.
dope.
Just
That is so
valuing.
dope. I love that. Love
It's
it,
just
love it.
completely valuing our opinion and being like, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? 5 out of 6. Okay. Like, just allowing to be a part of the process. I truly understand what it is to build a team that you trust, and it helps me in my career and where I'm trying to go with what I'm trying to do, and how you build a team that you can trust, and how you have to have an open conversation and things that you can disagree with or agree with, and just value each other's opinion. But as long as you appreciate each other's like opinion and value it, regardless if we use it or not, like the
Yeah.
fact that we value it, it's there to be, heard and be put into the pool of ideas that may not work right now for this specific subject or this specific project, but could be a pool of an idea that can actually work for something else. And so
I
she
love that.
really helped learn that. Yeah.
I absolutely love that. And something struck a chord with me when I was interviewing another guest by the name of Jeffrey Weissman, who is been acting for like over 45 years. He was in
Hmm.
a bunch of major motion pictures. He was in Back to the Future, and he
Hmm.
basically gave me like a master's class in acting, and he was basically telling me about different tools, I never put the connection to what I do for my 9 to 5. Like, I teach people, I'm a life coach, so I teach people tools and skills that they may not necessarily see that they have in themselves, and have to bring that out of people. But the similarity, and you hit upon it, so you're like the second person, so it's resonating with me that through art forms like dance and music and all the fine arts, there are life skills that can come from that. So you're talking about support systems and how
Hmm.
important they are for your own development, and that is something that I teach as a crucial component to somebody moving forward where they are with their life, whether it be, and I deal with all kinds of different people. I deal with people who are in mental behavioral health. I deal with people who are professionally looking just to take it to the next level, personal growth, all that kind of stuff. But it all has the common core that without a strong structure and support system, that's where the seed grows, and allows you to have that rooted foundation, like you were talking about, where Missy looks for that person who's rooted in the depth of it, because there comes an authenticity and a genuine quality that comes out of that support and that guidance from people. And I love it that you brought that up, because these are life lessons that people can take from being in any art form that they're involved in, and transpose that into real life skills and lessons, which kind of it hurts my heart, because I also, as you can see, I have a child, and I have fought for public education his whole, he's graduating from high school this year, fought for public education, fought for arts in the school are something like that I feel like we're sorely lacking, because we're not getting the comforts out there that are conveying that message that you just conveyed to me, that this transpires through your whole entire life. So I thank you for that, because it validates me to have that conversation with people.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the one thing that keeps me sane in everything that I do now. Like, knowing that my voice is valuable, knowing that my opinion or suggestions to anything has value to it. And so as a dancer, we have to realize our worth. So when I walk into a room of executives, or I walk into a room of actors and people that I don't live 24/7 with certain actors and whatever, but like, you walk into a pool of new people of a new environment, you can know that your voice and everything that you're saying it has value to it, and so you speak up, because some dancers don't say anything. They kind of observe and they're quiet, or whatever the case may be, because you might not know everything everyone else knows. But then you start to realize, being a part of this crew and this team, and understanding that, like, I've realized my value of, like, my suggestions, my voice, what I can do to contribute to the help of how we can get this machine oiled and run properly, And so it gives us our respect, because a lot of the times dancers don't get the respect that we deserve, only because we don't value our own selves, because we haven't been valued enough by the hierarchy of, like, the directors and the producers or whatever, even though, like, dance has now became the avenue for everyone. Honestly, dance is the avenue for everything, and yet we don't get the respect that we deserve. We don't get the money that we are worth. So you have to fight. So people like myself and other people, and they're like folks who climb up the ladder and know what it is, are finally, like, finding a voice, finally telling some of our dancers, no, don't take that job. Know your worth. Say no. We all say no. We'll realize that we need to actually pay more. We actually need to have our health insurance. You need to know about this. You need to know about this. And there's so much more to this than just the love of it. It all starts off with, and because everyone knows that we love it, we can get exploited really quick, and a lot of them can be the ones that say yes to a job when we should be saying no to it.
No to a job.
But because we want that money and that little small cash, we're saying, yeah, and if enough of those people do that, then it devalues us more and more, and we, everything that we've worked for starts to go back again. So it's just like, I appreciate you being able to have this conversation and having my voice be valued on this show as well, because these are stepping stones to what it is to truly be heard and truly know that there's a career in this. That's this is a true career in this, if you're smart with it. If you're smart with your money, if you're smart with your finances, you're smart with your with your savings, and how you invest. If you're smart with your investments and you're smart with all of that stuff, this is how I feed my family. I take care of my family with this. I take care of everyone with just being what someone would be like, you're just a dancer. And I'm like, Oh,
Wait, wait,
no, sweetheart.
wait,
I
wait,
am
wait, wait,
a
wait, wait.
singing, actually. I am a dance artist.
I love that.
Actually.
Love that. Love that. I love that. You absolutely are a true artist. I have a question. The dancer or the choreographer?
Mhm.
Where do you, what do you, I know that's a hard question, but when I was thinking about talking to you last night, I'm like thinking about, how I would, I mean, I love to dance. Love it, love it, love it. But there's something,
It's switched for sure. It has switched. For a while, I loved being the performer and the dancer. I love it. I still have a love for it. But now part of me is is to be the choreographer. I have to stop being the dancer.
sure, yeah.
And no, there's no other way to look at it other than to be Missy's the only exception. Like she makes the choreographer dance in all of her stuff. She doesn't care. So she's like, you better know how to do both. So Missy's an exception.
Get it.
But everything else, like if you want to be the choreographer, you have to stop being the dancer because unfortunately and fortunately, that is the only way you gain value visually
Hmm.
from from like producers, directors, creative, like all of that. Like you have
Sure.
to not be able to be in both pools. You have to be able to be a boss somewhere else so you can lead the rest of the people into a certain direction. So at this point in time in my life, although I still feel like the performer because I can freestyle and I love doing these certain videos and certain things where I am being the performer, I am making sure I value the fact that I am also the creator and a choreographer. But then also there's a part of me that's like, God, but I love this acting and I almost want to take everything I know as a dancer and just like put it into my music and acting so that I can be a triple threat in all of it. So
Hmm.
right now I'm even transitioning from even thinking I want to just even stop there, you know, 'cause that's not all I can do. I actually can do this as well. So why stop right here? You know, so I'm in a process right now and it's looking really, really good because I'm finally finding value in my voice when it comes down to the music and allowing myself to not be worried about the new judgment that comes with
Sure.
and the new eyes that comes with.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And we don't want you stopping for 1 minute. It's exhausting, Comfort, but we want to see all that. So speaking of being exhausted, tell us what do you have coming up that we can be ready and willing to see everything all Comfort. I want to know everything. I know
Well,
it's hot. I know you got a lot going on. It's like people
but
don't know.
I'll
People
give
don't
you
know
what
that.
I give you what's in the motion. I'll give you what's in like
Yeah,
already,
yeah.
moving. What's already moving is Missy Elliott's not done with her EP of music. Obviously, she dropped the Iconology, and so there's a story that's going to go behind it. So there's going to be every month something new is going to be dropping with these songs that we've been working on that we worked on for like a couple of months, a few months ago. So there's a lot of stuff dropping with that, and which I'm all a part of, which is really exciting. It's going to be pretty much the museum of Missy. So
Nice.
it's exciting to see that happen. And then for myself, I've actually now I've actually now connected with this guy named Keon who won So You Can Dance season 6, and
Yeah.
he has he has a company called IAF called I Am Force, and he wanted to create a new program within. So I decided to be a creative director for a commercial program that I wanted to bring a part of his company, which I'm the creative director for, which I'm bringing in all these different choreographers and big name choreographers who worked with a lot of huge name artists to come in and teach dancers what it is, the background of the commercial world, like when you actually get the job, what the rehearsal process looks like, how stage transition look like, how playback feels like when you're in music videos, how stage transition looks like when you're on a big stage for a concert, like all these different things that you don't learn, because right now what we see in like these music in these videos or these viral videos is you only just see them doing choreography and seeing a space. But that's not how real jobs work. Real jobs don't work that way. Not even close to it. So normally if you hire those people, you fire them just as fast because they have no clue what they're doing, and they also don't know how to be a chameleon with movement. They don't have a big enough arsenal of movement and foundation to truly be able to mold into any one of these choreographers who need a certain type of movement. And so bringing in a lot of different choreographers who are going to pretty much show that, and either some of them will teach you what it is to how to audition, what the audition process is. Some of them wants to come and talk about like how camera work works and how we're going to shoot mid shots, low shots, wide shots, how many playbacks you might get, all the technicalities, all of it. It's something that people have no clue because a lot of them don't get a chance to actually book these jobs, but they go to these auditions. And so how do you book the job? Like little things like that. So I'm just bringing a lot of people who like Dietrich's right now is a good friend of mine, and he's going to come in and talk about he's ridiculous. He's I love him, but he used to be my neighbor when we were younger. Like when we were,
really?
Yeah, my roommates would leave the door open and his dumb self would always just walk in, and I'd be like, Dietrich, could you knock? He's like, well, you left the door open. I was like, I lock doors. I don't know what these girls do, but I lock doors. So Dietrich is a good friend of mine, and he has this thing called Passion 8, and it's incredible. He has different stages, 8 stages to what it is to be successful within brand, YouTube, psychology, within like winning competition. Like he's figured out a nice science to it. He's figured out a science to all of it. And so he wants to come and talk at it. Certain people like Chuck Maldonado, who I grew up loving, he's the choreographer for Stomp the Yard and a lot of different Disney things. Like he hires people out of his class half the time, and some students and don't really actually know that. And he's also the head he's the head department of the choreography department of TV Academy. And so he brought me in for the TV Academy. And so now I know about the TV Academy and know about the Emmys and knows how to vote and know what it is to have your worth and your voice be heard in that spectrum. And so he wants to come in and talk about that and have people understand that there's different avenues that we can take as dancers and as choreographers and as producers or as creative directors and whatever the case may be, whatever you're going for. So anyways, I'm creating a program and project that hones in all of that.
Awesome. I love it. And what are we when are we going to hear some new music from you?
Wow. Well, my producer, his name is Beat Slayer. He also I brought him into working with Missy a couple of times, so he's gotten to like do some stuff, and so now he's a huge in the dance community for beats and stuff like that. So he's him and I have some fires. Like I'm actually almost afraid of the success of it because I feel like it's amazing, but I'm actually afraid of it because it's like so new. Because I love it so much, I'm like, will everyone else love it? Like, I don't know. Do I care? Should I care?
First of all, you shouldn't give a shit. Don't give a shit, okay? Because if you don't give a shit, we're gonna want it even more. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I feel like
absolutely.
Don't play it safe. You haven't played it safe up until this point, so don't.
I haven't played it safe, and it's not safe. It's definitely not the sound that's now. It's definitely on some like we were trying to be innovative and then break the barriers on a lot of different things.
We need that.
I'm really excited about it. It's familiar, but it still takes it into a different direction. And so I hope the goal is to actually release things before the end of the year. So we're just getting everything mastered and back into the studio, back and forth, and hopefully by the end of the year, before the end of the year, we in there.
On
and that's
pop.
Gonna be a new transition. I'm gonna be, and that's my goal for next year is to be performing. And also I like and go back to me playing my drums because I play the drums as well. I love that, and I want to really
What
be able to
what
actually
do
hone
you
into.
what don't you do?
I don't know. I was very hyper kid, man. I had to do
But
everything.
it's paying off. It's paying off. Like I grew up with ADD, and I say half of the things I would not have accomplished if I probably didn't have ADD to get my foot into all this stuff. So I'm glad. I'm glad that you have all that stuff coming up, and I'm really excited, Comfort, for you. I think that your journey, as much as you've accomplished. In these last couple of years, it's just the beginning, and it's something that your fans and the people that adore you, you're a bright light, and I really am happy for all your success and your continued success that's coming down the road for you. I thank you for being on our show. I know you got to run. I love that you took the time to come on here and just talk about our passion and our love for dance and being all things creative. And, I don't know what's going to come of this show. I'm hoping big things, but I want you to always feel like you have a place here at the Unnormalized Podcast to just touch base and let us know
Of
what's going on,
course.
everything, Comfort, where we can check you out. Hopefully by this time next year, we'll be seeing you concerts, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, festivals up in there.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that's definitely on the horizon for you. So,
I appreciate
everybody,
it.
thanks so much, Comfort, for joining us here at the Unnormalized Podcast.
Of
Comfort,
course.
before I let you go, just tell everybody how they can keep in touch with you and follow you on social media and all that kind of stuff.
So my social media across the board is the same: IG, Facebook, Twitter, Comfort Fedoke with that E at the end. And that's my Twitter, and that's my IG, that's my Facebook. That's how you can find me. My first and last name, Comfort Fedoke.
So, guys, go out there, subscribe to her YouTube channel. She also has a YouTube channel
I
that
also
you
have a YouTube channel.
can
It's
check
just
out.
Comfort Fedoke for real.
Yes, and
IG.
hit the
And y'all
subscribe
got
button.
tattoos our season too.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
getting tattoos our season. So Twitch got a tattoo. Josh, William. Yeah, we
Um,
all end up getting tattoos. That's
I'm
it
all
for
about
real
your
for our
ink.
season.
All
Look
about.
at all your ink. Oh, yeah, I got another one right here. You don't see him. I'm a little big. You know what I mean?
Some of them I can't show you because I'll get banned from like
Oh
every
no.
outlet. You know what I mean? So,
I know you. I got you.
but everybody, definitely subscribe to, hit up all her channels and her socials, but definitely subscribe to her YouTube channel. I'm going to put everything in the link or links into the comment section of Comfort's episode so you can stay in touch. And if you hit that subscribe, you're going to be on the list to find out everything that's current and fresh that's going on with Miss Comfort doing her thing. Ain't even mad, girl. Ain't even mad. But thanks.
I'm so thankful to be on the show. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you reaching out. I love what you're doing. I'm always a fan of people who do stuff that's unnormalized, and I appreciate that you have an avenue that you can be able to speak to people who have something to say that a lot of people don't get to hear all the time. And so I wish you so much success in this program, this podcast that you have, and I can't wait to come back and talk to you some more.
I'll hold you to that, but
Yeah, for real.
there you go, girl. All right, Comfort. Well, thanks for joining us on Unnormalized Podcast. Everybody, that's been the Unnormalized Podcast with Comfort, Fedoke, and stay unnormalized.